Continuation, day 4. Witness number 4, Ms. Lovett testified, gave her duties, tax commission, delinquent taxes, voter registration office, the work she had done in 18 years experience, was familiar with absentee voting. She had 159 return absentee ballots in 2010, and this was something that got their attention because there was a spike in absentee ballots. And in 2008, it was a presidential race, and only 300 absentee ballots were returned. And so they called that, the same way that local newspaper and television hyped upon the fact that there was a spike in absentee ballots. Well, if the Quitman 10+2 decided, let me put it another way. If everybody in the state of Georgia said that they wanted to vote by absentee ballots, and they went out and sent out file absentee ballot applications, then it would be obvious that the state of Georgia would have a high number of absentee ballots simply because of the fact that people decided that they're going to vote by absentee ballot. Now, we know that the law was changed wherein anybody could file by absentee ballot. You don't have to have a deformity or nothing like that, or ill or anything like that. And ever since the Quitman 10+2 fiasco started, I always said, why didn't the newspaper state that anybody could file by absentee ballot? And I think I know for a fact some people got the absentee ballots confused with the absentee applications. And you will see that on some of my other videos. And so it seemed as if though the Quitman 10+2, much like the Madison 9 and another voting problem in Willacoochee and other places here in South Georgia, that there is an asserted effort to suppress the black vote. Now, I'm saying to Eric Holder and to the others in the Justice Department who are concerned about protecting our rights to vote, including the civil rights organizations, the Urban League and others, the SCLC, if you have any life in you, I wish that you would wake up and let this Quitman, what happened in Quitman on the 23rd of September, be already a high profile case. Let it be a landmark case. Because when you look, if Eric Holder would take the transcript from this court case and investigate it, look at what was said, look at what took place in the courtroom, look at what started all of this, look at the district attorney reasons for initiating this particular case, look and see when the attorney King and Attorney Walker requested original copies of documents, and Miss Simmons out of Atlanta, attorney. Why was it so hard to produce these original copies of documents that should have been available there in the courtroom in the first place? So I believe that there is so much that should have been published to the general public about this case that was not reported. Now this registrar resigned in 2010, and moreover, she had a granddaughter to help her with the processing of absentee ballots, and I think they say that she has the authority to deputize people to help her, so she deputized 2 other people along with her granddaughter to help her. I don't know if they ever produced the documents where she actually deputized these 3 individuals. She took the ballots home to work on them, and here again, I don't know if that's within the law either. I mean, how can somebody, see, I work with classified information, and to me, this should have been better controlled in Brooks County than it was. I'm going to leave that alone. That may be something that Eric Holder might need to look in as well. Once again, we're talking about the right to vote, and we got to understand And as I was saying earlier, the new law that came out that anyone could vote by absentee ballot, that was good reason for the spike, and especially when people get out and they're concerned about other people voting. This registrar, 18 years employed, as I said before, taking ballots home, leaving them overnight, insecure. We don't know if she had visitors over. We don't know that. And if she could have shared some of that information with some other people, that didn't come out in the courtroom. That's just a question I'm asking. But when CB asked the registrar if she knew anything in the law about whether she can take ballots home to work on them or to have someone else, like a granddaughter, to help her and assist her, she said, I don't know if there is such a law. We're talking about someone, just like the postman, all these years experience, and yet can't answer or didn't answer a question like that as we would hope she would. So we must ask, how many other people are serving in positions of authority and leadership in South Georgia that has not been trained? And is that a reflection on the Georgia Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp, for having people in office of that high degree and don't know about how to protect the rights for people to have their information protected at all times? Witness 7, probate judge Beth Hurst was there concerning the July 2010 election, and that speaks for itself. You got to read the transcript of that testimony. It's very, very interesting. But for time, I'm getting ready to wind this up. There was a witness number 8. The G.B.R. came to her job. She was frightened. Number 1, because they came to a job. They didn't make an appointment to come to her job. They came with a gun and spoke to other people in terms of where she was located at a restaurant, and then without prior notice, came to her job where she worked, and that was very unprofessional, as we believe. And this particular girl was honest. I've known her in high school. She was in the same graduating class, and she was the highest, one of the highest level of intellect in our classroom. And for her to make the statement that she made, that she was intimidated, I believe her. There's something that they did to these people that should not have happened under our form of government. Chris Williams, as we were saying earlier, Secretary of State's office, 27 years. But what got me was still to intimidate a voter. Now, it was said that these people, these black African Americans, was not intimidated. How can someone say that a person is not intimidated? Nobody knows what we have gone through but us, and how we look at men that wear the badge and meet us along the roadside and talk about you've possibly committed something that you could go to jail for. In fact, one lady talked about they threatened her about going to jail, and she was very upset on the day of the investigation. So, you don't know nothing about all this, and believe me, there's much more than this. Witness number 10, Patricia Little. I just can't stay away from the name. Y'all excuse me, but it's public records in the courtroom. She said several times that the G.B.R. agents harassed her. She said that the agents said, you're going to give me the information anyway, so you might as well give it to me. She told one female to get out of her yard. They were so rude and disrespectful to her. And the agent was kind, according, and respectful. She went out to the road and stood while the other investigator continued the investigation. And this particular Patricia Little also said, as she was on the witness stand, it make me don't want to vote. She said, I may never vote again. It make me don't want to vote. And they asked her questions. And they asked her why that she was acting the way she was, and they wanted to know, I guess, if she was telling a story. And she made the statement, I've never been in a place like this. And they asked what place like this, and she said, you got a gun, something to that effect. And so we got to understand that black people see things different. We have gone through so much. When you hear about people being killed in the streets across the nation by law enforcement, many people are intimidated. If the people who have served in the armed forces, who have actually carried them 16 and in combat, we are not as scared as a person who don't know nothing about what the enemy can do to you, especially if you see them as an enemy. But we in the armed forces, we are a little more accustomed to